So it was heavy on my heart today to do this recording. So let's just see where it goes. People believe in general, I'm generalizing here, people in general believe life is causing their emotional suffering, right? Family, friends, boss, manager, the news, social media, the weather, traffic, um, politics, whatever, all the things is creating their emotional suffering. They're making me mad. They're making me sad. It's because of them. This is hurting my feelings. They make me feel X, Y, and Z. Because of the economy, I'm suffering because of it's all pointing the finger outwards. Blame, right? Life is happening to me. It's personal. It's causing me to suffer. That's not where your feelings come from. Most of the time, it's your interpretation of the world, your interpretation of social media, it's your comparison, your envy, your desire, your greed, your stories and beliefs that they have more than you, that their life is better than yours, or they're hurting your feelings, or they're saying things that are mean, or I wouldn't say it that way, or I wouldn't do it that way. It's all of this. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of heavy thinking. It's filled with a lot of victimhood. Right? If all of these things, people, places, things, situations, and circumstances would get it together and be nice to me, say the right thing, validate me, I might be happy then. Well, sad thing is that's not possible. And what we're doing is placing our power outside of us. We're placing our emotions and our feelings outside of us. We're believing I will be happy when all of these things act and behave a certain way, but it's not where your feelings come from. Your feelings are inside of you. When you believe that your feelings are outside of you, you feel helpless and hopeless and powerless. That leads to depression. Your feelings aren't outside of you. They've always been inside of you. Your feelings are inside out, not outside in. What you put attention on, what you think, what you believe, what you repeat is how you feel. That's simple. When you overuse and abuse your meaning making machine and make meaning out of everything and personalize everything, you create suffering, mental, emotional, and physical suffering. What you repeat becomes familiar. It becomes your new default. It becomes what you get more of, paradoxically. So whatever you're judging, predicting, assuming, personalizing, creating meaning out of, judgment out of, you're suffering as a result. Your meaning making machine, your mind, your brain, your ego, all the same thing, is creating stories and beliefs internally that make the external world look like it's making you feel a certain way. And that's not true. So this isn't about fixing yourself, because there's nothing wrong with yourself. It's just an overactive imagination creating a lot of suffering. The shift, the power that I point you towards, the understanding is understanding your mind, what it's doing, how it's serving you, how it's protecting you, how it's repeating patterns over and over again. So the shift, the understanding is seeing more clearly. Seeing enough to stop running this pattern, this cycle over and over again that's disrupting this automatic pattern. That's it. It's that simple. People in general that come to me anyways, like, I'm done suffering, Catherine, please help me. And they want to surrender to old thought loops and old patterns and stop generational trauma. They, in general, have mistaken thoughts for reality. They think all of their thoughts are true and valid and factual. They believe that they're absolutely true, and they believe that innocently because it feels true in their body, right? The tummy upset, the racing heartbeat, the shallow breathing, maybe the tension in your shoulders or your chest or your neck or your head. Sometimes I feel it in my legs. I'll all of a sudden realize I've been flexing my leg muscles for the last hour. Man, I'm exhausted. It manifests differently depending on the situation. But, if it was true that things outside of us make us feel a certain way, it would be universal. It would apply to all 8 billion people on the planet. It's not like gravity, right? Gravity is universally true for this planet, as far as I know. Now, might be places, I know I've been to, I think, South Dakota, that tries to prove that wrong. I think it's a fun house. I think they might have magnets. I don't know what's going on there, but the same moment can be perceived or interpreted differently with two different people. So does that make it true? If you look at twins, how they in their 30s, if you ask them, what was it like, your childhood like? They might perceive it differently, completely differently. And neither one is right or wrong. It's just their perception, their interpretation. Everything is that way. Thoughts feel factual, but thoughts are just energy moving through our body. That's it. Emotions feel like they are external, right? So we get a stimulus, we see something, smell something, hear something, taste something, or touch something, right? We experience this world through thought and our 5 senses. And it seems justified that because someone said something to me, that triggered me. No, that's not true. Our triggers are for us to work on. For me, I love leaning into a trigger because that's my growth edge. That's something for me to grow, to improve, to adjust, to choose a different way of approaching it, a different way of interpreting it, and a different way of believing it. I love finding my new growth edge. So a trigger is like, I get excited about it. Now, most people, when they first start working with me, run away from triggers. And that's what keeps reinforcing that trigger. That's what makes it stronger and stronger and stronger, because your brain goes, danger, something outside of my human is threatening its life. There's a pattern, right? So every time you avoid something because of fear of what's going to happen, it makes it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So lean in. Whoever that is your teacher. Learn from that. Most suffering feels justified, right? You can give me all kinds of receipts and proof and evidence and all these stories, and all that does is hypnotize you, not me, you. Keeps your attention focused on what you do not want, and you'll get more of it. Everyone that I get on a consult call with can talk ad nauseum about what they do not want in their life, how miserable it is, how awful it is, how demanding it is, how much pressure, how much agony, all this suffering. But when I ask them what they want, they're tongue-tied. Why? Because they're not using their full brain. They're using a small portion of their brain, their survival brain, their amygdala, if you want to be more specific, and other parts of their brain. But they're not using the full capacity of their brain. They're focusing in on what they don't want, which makes that part of their brain more active. So when you see or experience anything, you're filtering out and seeing only the suffering, the pain, the agony, the fear. the shame, the guilt, the embarrassment. That's it. You're looking through a lens that you're just seeing more of what you don't want. And so you're going to paradoxically get more of what you don't want. Our brain is constantly narrating what we experience. It keeps reinforcing what we don't want, if that's what you put your focus and attention on. So your thoughts feel real, but that's the trap. That is the trap. When you hook into that belief, oh, this must mean something. This must mean that they're a terrible person. This must mean they're a narcissist. Oh, yeah, no. That's your interpretation. That's what your model of the world is. That's your beliefs. That's your judgments. That's your projection outwards. Now you're labeling people. And when you label someone, I guarantee you, you will find more evidence that they are that label. And you don't see them as a human being. You don't see their strengths, their skills, their talents, what they know. You're now closed off, closed-minded. So who's a narcissist? That's way overused on the internet. So I apologize. My clients know that I don't use labels. So that's like, you're probably watching this going, wait, what are you talking about? It's all in driving a point home. Anyways, you're not reacting to life as much as you're reacting to your stories, your interpretations, your judgments, your projections, all words to say thought. That's what you're reacting to. It's thoughts that you keep repeating, that flavor. So maybe it's embarrassment, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's worry, maybe it's stress, maybe it's overwhelm, maybe it's fear, worry. Pick your flavor. If you had a choice, would you stay thinking about worry? If you had a choice, would you continue to choose to fear this world? What if you didn't? What if you had a choice to feel anything in the world? Maybe just okay, maybe just safe, maybe neutral. What if that was your baseline instead of overwhelm? The power is within you. If you believe it's outside of you, you'll never get to it. You'll never reach that feeling. You'll never master your state of mind. You'll never feel peace of mind, right? These sayings, peace of mind, there's a point behind that. It's inside of you. You want to feel peace. It's flipping the switch on how you think, getting out of your own way. The power is within you. It's surrendering the old patterns of thought and adapting to a new pattern of thought that's more empowering, that's more exciting and more addictive. Like, oh, and when I feel empowered, I want more of that. How do I feel more empowered? How do I feel more excited? So that I figure out that pattern and I do it over and over and over and over again. That becomes my new baseline. Events don't create your emotions. Once you believe that, when you adopt that state of mind or that belief or that story or that way of interpreting the world, you'll be miserable, maybe depressed. It's your own personal meaning that you're looking through the lens of. So traffic, tailgaters, text messages that are delayed or ghosting you, or maybe you're on dating apps. I get that with a lot of my single clients that are on dating apps. They make so much meaning out of thin air. When I first start working with them, they're like, oh, nobody's responding back to me. So that must mean I'm stupid, dumb, and ugly. Has anyone told you that? No. That's your own projection. That's your own imagination. Whoa, look at your brilliant mind working overtime, protecting you. Why? Because it's like, get off the apps. Danger, danger, danger. Your brilliant mind is working for you, not against you. But you can unlearn that pattern and learn a new pattern and be more excited, more curious, more open-minded, more optimistic, more fun or playful. You choose your flavor. I don't want to give you words. You pick your own. You know, another example would be maybe you're at the grocery store and you bump into someone you haven't seen in a while and they look at you kind of like they recognize you, but you could tell they're kind of thinking heavy. You know, they're in their thoughts and they're trying to remember your name. Give them your name first off. Don't let them sit there and drown. People have a lot on their mind, right? We're in a heavy information world right now. Just give them a buoy, save them from drowning. But a lot of times people create meaning out of that. I'm dumb, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm not memorable, I'm whatever, fill in the blanks, right? And then we feel sad for days, weeks, months, decades over one insignificant event. We create meaning out of someone's tone or how they say things, or because they say things differently than you would. Oh, because I wouldn't say it that way. That's rude. That's mean. Okay. It's all about me, right? It has no meaning towards you. I mean, what I'll do is I'll quite honestly check in and say, hold up, time out. I just want to check in. Are you mad at me? Did I, is there something I need to apologize for? Because sometimes I say things, I might come off not the way I intended to, right? Fall on my sword, repair instantly. So the other person can get their ground. I did that even recently. And it's like, no, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at blah, 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 something else. Okay, thank you for clarifying that with me. And then the conversation shifted because they realized, oh, I need to edit myself a little bit and make sure I'm not yelling at this person. So check in from warmth, from kindness, from curiosity. So a neutral event we can make into something very personal, very judgmental, very malicious when it's not intended that way. Most people don't wake up in the morning and go, I really want to be mean to everybody today. Most people don't. Most people that come off maybe heavy-handed or heavy with their words or heavy tone, whatever, they're suffering. Is everything okay? I just get this sense that you're carrying a lot of weight lately, or today, or in this moment. Do you want to just take a moment and we can just sit together and take some deep breaths? We add a lot of thought to situations and circumstances and people that creates friction and tension and conflict. Our feelings follow our own thoughts, not other people's actions. It's what we interpret from that person, place, thing, situation, and circumstance. Interpretation, I get it. My clients like to debate this. Interpretation feels factual. It feels real. Yes, you're right, because you had a thought, right? Interpretation is a thought that feels real. But unless we just feel our thoughts, that's it. We're not feeling things outside of us. We're like a power plant. We generate feelings inside. The feelings don't come outside in. So, and I want to put a pause on this for a second. I want to make sure that I'm not addressing physical abuse or trauma or all the major stuff. I'm talking about average general life stuff. Okay. Same event can be experienced an infinite number of ways. There can be an infinite number of emotional realities, experiences, interpretations, etc. Okay. Most things are not personal. It's made personal by the meaning-making machine, your mind, your brain, the stories, the beliefs, patterns, loops, things that you keep repeating. Like I'll have clients that'll come to me that are in a relationship and there's a similarity in the flavor that they're experiencing in their relationship, not just in that intimate relationship, if you will, but also in their relationships with their family, maybe a friend, maybe a coworker, maybe a boss. There's usually a thread, there's a commonality. Like they feel as though everyone is hard on them, or everyone, like they'll generalize, right? Everyone is taking from me, demanding from me. Everyone wants me to solve all their problems, right? There's a lot of generalization, but there's a lot of things being deleted in that story too. But there's a pattern with everyone. There's a pattern that keeps getting repeated in all those different circles, unless you become consciously aware and disrupt those patterns. So back to what you're paying attention to, what you're putting your focus on. So what you focus on expands, right? Because that's what you look through. That's how you look at life. So the relationship you have with yourself and your relationship you have with your life, those two things, all fancy way of saying how you think about yourself and how you think about your life, is what you're focused on, what you put attention on, and that's what gets filtered in the world. So if your relationship to yourself and life it's miserable, my life is miserable, I'm miserable, you're going to find it everywhere. You're going to find it in your friends, you're going to find it in your work, you're going to find it in your hobbies, you're going to find it everywhere. At home, it's going to follow you everywhere like BO. Because you're naturally scanning for that misery. You're scanning for people to dismiss you, reject you, disobey you, be controlling towards you. So you're looking for confirmation and proof and evidence that your life is miserable, or whatever the flavor is. You'll be more focused in on tone, criticism, judgment, feedback. You'll take it personally. You'll notice it on social media as well. You'll notice it everywhere, in every space you go into. And it will feel real because you're thinking about it, and it'll activate your nervous system. So that becomes your default. If you believe I am miserable, right? Notice my language is identity. I am is identity language. So you're identifying with that. You're enmeshing with that. You're looking through the lens of misery. So you'll find it everywhere. If you believe, if the common thread in your life is nothing works out for me, doesn't matter what course, what program, what coach, what therapist, what anything you subscribe to, any book, it's not going to work out for me. Never works out for me. It never pans out for me. You'll experience that everywhere you go. Work, friendships, hobbies, books, any personal development. If you walk in thinking it's going to be miserable, it's not going to work out for me, I never fit in, you'll find proof of it, because that's how you're looking at everything. That's what you're putting attention on. That's what you're focused on. So your mind will amplify the proof, the evidence, and receipts. The feeling will strengthen within your body more and more and more with every interaction, with every time you find proof, because you'll find it. So your focus and your attention strengthens that feeling. So remember, your feelings are inside out. So what you focus on grows. what you repeat, the thoughts, the stories, the things that you say out loud, what you repeat is like hypnosis. So it becomes more and more vivid. Your brain starts focusing on it. So you'll see, smell, hear, taste, touch more things that show you proof and evidence that your life is miserable, or people reject you, or it's not going to work out for me. It never works out for me. Something's wrong with me. I need to be fixed. I'm broken. I am anxious, whatever the flavor is. Repetition creates this emotional weight, heaviness, or baseline. Your brain loves what feels familiar. That creates certainty. That creates a sense of safety, even if it's miserable. So whatever it is you're focusing on gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just starts to feel like your whole reality. And to be honest with you, that's how identity gets created. We identify with it, we enmesh with it, we attach to it. So you're not seeing more, you're seeing less of what's in your environment. And you keep returning to it. That's the pattern. See, people reject me. See, I'm not good enough. See, I'm not smart enough, not pretty enough, not tall enough. So what you keep repeating by identity statements, I am, right? I am anxious, I am awkward, I am clunky, I am an introvert. All of these labels are identities. So that's what your brain goes, oh, look for proof and evidence that I'm an introvert, that I'm awkward, that I'm weird, that I don't fit in, that I'm bad with money. The brain loves what's familiar. So it'll find proof and evidence of whatever you say after I am, and you'll see more of it. It'll become more and more vivid, more and more real. It becomes your identity. We glue to it. Oh, that must be true. Look, I found all this proof today. Our meaning-making machine goes out there and gathers proof. So what we make familiar, what we repeat in patterns, in loops, are just thoughts that feel true. Doesn't mean they are true. They're fabricated. It's like an algorithm in your mind. It really is. Like, I feel like that's a great metaphor. It's just like, for me on my social, it's like self-help stuff and dogs and cats, or animals, really. That's all it is. So, because I engage with that. Same with your brain. Whatever it is that you keep engaging in and you keep circling, thinking about, talking about, getting validation from well-meaning friends and family, you're going to get more of that. You're going to experience more of it because it becomes familiar, it becomes this. It's like we insulate ourselves with friends and family that validate our misery. Social media does that too. The fake friends, the connections, they validate us over and over again. Well, it must be true. Look, there's more people like me that are miserable, that are anxious, that are introverted, whatever. You're going to believe you are more and more of that. So identity is what's been rehearsed, that's you've self-hypnotized yourself with, that you've clung to, that you put a label on your forehead, says, I am this. No, you're not. That's not true. It's what you keep repeating and believing and looking for evidence of. Take the label off. Your brain loves consistency. Your brain loves things that are repeated. What is it? Hitler, there's a saying about Hitler, what he repeated over and over and over and over again, and basically hypnotized people to believe in his theory, or whatever you want to call it. And people are like, well, it must be true. That's why the news is on repeat. Be careful about anything that you hear over and over and over and over again. Music, it can brainwash you. It can hypnotize you. I mean, choose music carefully, I guess. That's my point. So identity is rehearsed. Your brain protects. It's almost like what we repeat is, it turns into this comfort zone, even if it's miserable. I think comfort zone is kind of poorly worded, because I really feel like a lot of people that reach out to me that are at their end and they're like, you are my last resort, like help me, fix me. Well, you're not broken, number one, but I feel like it's a misery zone. we cling to it. We stay in that zone because we're afraid to change. It's our mind that's afraid to change. That's it, because it's new. Anything new is uncertain, unfamiliar, and the brain loves what's familiar, or in other words, what's repeated. That's it. It loves consistency. It loves repetition. I meet a lot of people that will defend old identities to the grave. And that's sad. They defend painful identities and their misery to the end. Sometimes I have to actually ask my clients, it doesn't seem like you want to let go of this misery. Seems like you're so entrenched in it that you don't want out, that you fear change so much that you feel stuck, and that familiarity is comforting. And that's okay. If that's where you want to stay, that's great. Probably not a good coach for you, because I'm going to challenge your thinking. But maybe you want to stay miserable. Maybe you want to keep telling me what is going wrong. What is making you sad? What is making you mad? Pointing outward again. Maybe you want to just continue to do that. That's a choice. But I know that if we focus in on what you want, how you want to feel, what does that look like? Who do you want to become? What is it like to be different? If you want to tiptoe and explore what it might feel like to have a different perspective, interpret things a little differently, let go of some old patterns and learn new patterns, I think your life will be magnificently different. Familiar feels safe to the mind. Familiar feels safe to the mind. Unknown patterns and thought loops to the mind, the ego, the brain is scary, right? It's not. It's just new. But when we label it as scary or hard or difficult or frightening, oh my God, that sounds awful. Guess what? That's clinging to your misery. You will stay stuck. You will stay experiencing life through misery, overwhelm, stress, anxiety, worry. You're clinging to it. You're deflecting, dismissing what I am pointing you to. It's actually rather simple. So most people don't defend truth or what's real. They defend what feels like truth inside of them. Okay, so notice my words. They defend what feels like truth inside of them. So their feelings come from their thinking. Their thinking is circular, it's repetitious. It's been what's hypnotized, conditioned, programmed through culture, society, news, movies, social media, whatever everything that you've come in contact with, your environment, everything. You're absorbing things, people, places, things, situations, and circumstances. It doesn't mean that they make you feel that way. But if you've been around a community or culture, or society of people that predominantly are negative, blame the world for the way they are, it becomes normalized. back to Hitler again, right? It becomes normalized. It becomes, well, it worked for them, right? But that's not true. It's just like, for me, experiencing what I would consider a not so good childhood, I didn't want to repeat that. So I did everything in my power to disrupt that pattern and do the opposite, stop that generational crap. You have the power. It's a choice. It is a conscious choice, which people say, oh, that's really hard. No, it's not. It just takes being intentional every day. It takes slowing down. It's seeing that you have choice instead of impulsively reacting from emotions. When we react to emotions, we're going to eat the whole chocolate cake. We're going to buy things that we don't need. We're going to do things that we regret. We're going to say things that we wish we could take back. That's non-consciously living. That's living on an emotional roller coaster, and that will create misery. That'll create heartache, loneliness, stress, anxiety, worry, for sure. Makes sense. It'll create more rejection. It'll create more of what you don't want. So the feeling is real based on what you're thinking. So if you have a feeling you don't want or like, or you want to shift, change, it comes down to being curious about what you're thinking and choosing how you want to feel, choosing how to be. It's choosing to disrupt that loop, that pattern with repetition. It's like a muscle, it's building a muscle. And if you don't intentionally, purposely build that muscle on a daily basis, it will atrophy. You'll move back, you'll slide back. Your comfort zone or your default will slide back to probably old patterns. One thought that we have, if we have one thought, it will compound on itself. So knowing that, if we grab onto a thought, so let's say you have one thought, maybe you get excited about something, right? So if you get excited about something and then it turns into another thought and then another thought and then another thought, and if you take action somewhere in there, you're changing your state of mind, you're changing the energy, you're changing what you're focused on, you're changing what you're putting attention on. You'll feel it in your body. Get more and more excited, it will build. Okay. So for me, what I want to compound, and kind of like a snowball, right? Rolling down the hill, what I want to compound and make bigger and bigger are feelings that I enjoy. I guard my inner state with an iron fist, right? So I choose what people have access to me, how much access to me, or none at all. Because it's important to me to surround myself with like or similar people. And my friends know, a lot of my friends know when they text me or want to talk about something, they want to vent, bitch, moan, complain about something, they know they're going to be hit with Coach Catherine. How is that benefiting you? That may be one thing I say. There's many things I say. You know, what story are you believing that has you so hooked to this feeling? I don't know. I'll say all kinds of things. Like, there's not one question or one thing that I use, but it's many things. You know, your thoughts end up stacking. You're giving me more and evidence and proof that it's horrible or terrible. Well, no wonder why you feel excited about this. No wonder why you feel awful about this, because you're believing that this happens to you. You're in an emotional spiral. You're overthinking, you're overanalyzing, you're being very logical about it. You're replaying over and over again how this isn't fair. No wonder why you feel that way. It makes sense. Do you want to feel differently? I bet you do. So you can turn a small moment into a gigantic problem very easily. But is it a problem or is it a thinking problem? 9 times out of 10, it's a thinking problem. Small moments become giant problems or obstacles or challenges because of our meaning-making machine, right? Your mind isn't stuck. It just hasn't been refreshed back to the algorithm, right? So every once in a while on like TikTok, my For You page, something random will pop up in there, and I'm afraid to watch the whole video, especially if it's not my style or flavor of entertainment. And I'm like, I'm afraid to watch the whole video or like it because I don't want my algorithm filled with that kind of flavor. I have a rule. I go on TikTok and get one gold nugget, like just one thing. And usually I'll just watch just 1 or 2 or 3 videos and then I'm done. I find that to be, because it keeps it in a learning capacity. Because again, a lot of my social media is self-help stuff or animals, which of course that's entertainment and laughter, but because the silly things animals do, I love. But anyways, back to your mind and awareness and what you focus in on. You know, your awareness of your conscious awareness of how your mind works will interrupt old patterns, old beliefs, old identities, and you'll kind of laugh at yourself and see the old version of yourself. That's what I love. These are the conversations I love with my clients ongoing is, oh, the old version of me, which could be an hour ago, or it could be yesterday or last week or a year ago. The old version of me would have said something different, done something different, and then the outcome would have been much more of the same. It would have been a big mess. It would have been something I had to apologize for or clean up or fix or resolve. But the new version of me remains whatever, they'll fill in the blank, more curious, more compassionate, more warm, more understanding, more inquisitive, whatever. So I love those stories is when, because truly everything I talk to with my clients is really nothing new. Certainly I have my own sort of understanding or process that's been developed and refined over time through many different means or understandings or paradigms. But nothing is really new. But it's not my words that help clients. It's me helping them slow down and integrate what works for them, be it their values, morals, principles, convictions, or faith, whatever is important to them, or maybe it's everything, all of those. But being able to get more clear on what's in alignment with their soul, what's meaningful, what's fulfilling, what's important and valuable to them helps them. It's like a GPS or a coordinates. It helps them point towards more of what they want, how they want to feel, and helps them speak, communicate more clearly because it gives them the framework. It gives them their own words without having to memorize a formula or a framework or anything like that, because who can remember that? I've been in courses and programs where there's like this huge acronym you have to remember when you're being triggered. I'm like, how am I going to remember that, and apply that in real life? I keep it really simple. And that's what I think coaching sessions are meant for, is to curate and customize something that works for them. We keep adjusting and adapting and tweaking it until something pops open. So it's nothing new. They don't need more information. No one needs more information. I've got enough information at our fingertips. But really what it is it's integration. It's applying it to your own life, being experiential. It's being able to test things out, come back, talk to me and go, well, this is what I tried. This is what worked. And let's, there might be some things that I learned. How do we move forward with this information? That's really it. It's rinse and repeat through stories, through conversation. And it's also me listening and recognizing patterns and loops and challenging patterns and loops or thought cognitive distortions, if you will, or in other words, thoughts that are limiting, thoughts that are holding them back, disempowering thoughts, another way to word that. So I highlight those things and they edit sometimes. Or sometimes they're still stuck in the misery and want to validate that and give me more evidence and proof that no, I want to be stuck to my misery. Okay, that's fine. Maybe today you're not ready to hear that. It's okay. Like for me, I would say I probably spent a good 10 years drowning in self-development and going, something's going to break loose. Something is going to pop me open and fix me. And I never found that in that 10-year span. Please don't take that the wrong way. It doesn't mean it's going to take you 10 years. Believe me. I have clients that they break open on one session. I have some clients that takes months. I have some clients that impulsively find me, sign up, and then ghost me, right? So, whatever, maybe they're on to the next thing. It's fine. But I'm always here, right? So I'm here. I love supporting people that are fun, excited, eager, hungry, maybe even tired of the old and want to break free and go to the new, but they've got to be really open-minded and open-hearted. Curiosity is what is a huge driver to people seeing things and experiencing things differently. Force, self-shame, regret, all those things just keep you stuck in that same low state. They're not going to help you at all. In fact, actually, I think it paradoxically creates more of what you don't want. So it's being more awake, coming off of autopilot, having deep, amazing, incredible curiosity, optimism, open-mindedness. And truly, patterns aren't something that you break by force, by pushing, by urgency. I would say definitely that's probably why for me personally, it took me so long, those 10 years of, because I had one of my old personality ways of doing things was from a lot of urgency, from a lot of 911. This is urgent. Do this now, quick, fast, hurry. And it still pops up. Every once in a while, I'll experience that feeling of urgency in my body. And what I will say about urgency, for me anyways, it's addictive. And I know now it's like cortisol, adrenaline, endorphins, right? So it's a good feeling. And I love that feeling. So that's why it was so addictive for me. Like, no. Like I knew logically it was harmful, but I loved that feeling. So it was addictive, to be completely honest with you. So now when I feel that feeling, I know what it feels like. I'm like, whoa, slow down. Because I can make a lot of mistakes in that heightened state. I can make a lot of impulsive decisions. I can do things that do things that are not of my character or integrity. So it's stepping out of a pattern, is seeing you have a pattern. Because if you don't see that you have a pattern, there's nothing to fix, right? Well, not fix, wrong word. If you don't see the pattern, then how can you work on that new growth edge? How can you evolve above it? See, I changed my language there. Sorry. It's not fixing. We don't need to be fixed. Because that way of thinking that we need to be fixed is, again, low level thinking. It's the interpretation of that is we're broken and we're not. We have a brilliant mind that's working powerfully towards what we don't want. So we want to shift it towards what we do want, how we want to feel and how we want to be. So that's why I edit my language. I'm not going to edit this video. I feel like the more raw this is, the more relatable it is. But when you see a pattern, when you experience a pattern that you want to grow out of, unlearn, adjust, adapt to something different, you'll step outside of it. You'll no longer want to relate to it. You'll no longer want to align with it, or you'll want to detach from it. So again, nothing in you is broken. Most people that I've met and worked with long-term or even short-term are really stuck in believing their thoughts. It's amazing to me. I would say every single client that I've worked with for weeks, months, or years at some point tells me it's been me the whole time. Yeah. And that's the good news, because if it's in you, it can be changed. It can be evolved. It can shift. You have power there. You have way more power than you realize. But when we believe that the world is making us feel sad or angry or miserable, you have no power. You're powerless. Because even if you believe that I'll be happy when I find my true love, right? So let's say you do enter into a relationship, you're going to cling to that person. You're going to be afraid to lose them because you believe your feelings are in that person. And that's not true. And that's not a healthy relationship, right? You'll be insecure. You'll be clingy. You'll be grabby. You'll be needy. Fill my needs, meet my needs, take care of me, make me happy, do everything I want you to do. And then the critical stuff will start coming in. Well, I don't like when you do that. Stop doing that. Say this, meet my needs, do this. That's not healthy. But that is very common in the clients that I work with in the US and Canada. Work with a lot of relationships where they're in a, not even in a marriage, but in a long-term relationship. I usually work with one side or both sides, but separately. Anyways, all of this to say, thoughts are temporary. Thoughts are energy. They come and go, just like feelings, they ebb and flow. The more we see that thoughts and feelings just move through us, we don't cling to them anymore. They don't become permanent. They don't become our identity. They don't become a behavior of ours. They're very temporary. Our feelings follow our thinking. The more you see that, the more evidence you have of that in your own life, in real time, the more this will sink in. But it's a daily practice. It's something that does require practice, or it will atrophy. Because the world wants us to believe that our feelings are outside of us. So we buy more things. We buy a timeshare because I'm happy when I'm in my timeshare. We buy hamburgers because, oh, I'll be a size 0 like that girl, that model on the billboard, and I'll have a smile on my face. We buy more things. We're easier to manipulate when we believe our feelings are outside of ourselves. And we're taught this from day one. We're given a blanket or teddy bear. This makes you happy. This will keep you safe. This is lovable, right? This will make you feel lovable, whatever, however it's plated for you. Santa Claus makes us happy. Our birthday is a happy day. Have you ever had a birthday that hasn't been happy? Yeah, I think all of us have, right? We believe that a certain day makes us happy. We're being brainwashed here. Truthfully, your birthday can be happy every single year. It is a choice. What we put attention on, we filter. Okay. So if we focus in, if we put our attention on how we want to feel, who we're becoming, how we're growing, what we're learning, what skills we have, what skills we want to develop, how we want to impact this world. If we focus in on what's fulfilling, what's meaningful, what's impactful, what's valuable, what's important to us, we'll see that. We'll see opportunities. We'll say yes to things and say no to other things or people or opportunities. Repetition is what we humans cling to for identity. So if we're repeating patterns in a day that we're not proud of, that might be the place to focus in on. Okay. So these are habits. That's all it is. And a habit is something you can break. Habits are created through thought. That's all it is. It's having a thought and going, oh, and then reaching for it or doing it or saying it. Okay. It's just thought. It's just a habit of thought. So if you want to break a habit, it's shifting how you think about that thing, for instance, the relationship to it. If you believe that that thing makes you feel good, maybe it's scrolling. Oh, I'm going to scroll and just numb out and forget my day, or decompress. There you are. There's your relationship to it. That's how the addiction starts. But if your relationship to scrolling is different, like mine, like I go on social media and scroll, for me, I get one or two good gold nuggets of learning, something to reflect on for the day, self-reflect or reflect on in a way that, how would this serve me or someone I care about? How does this look in my world, or how does this look in my life? What would it be to experience that? Like, I really love finding one thing and just going throughout my day and looking for it, right? Again, through that lens, what I'm focused in on, what I'm putting attention to. And sometimes it's valuable and sometimes it's not. But I look at social media as a means or a tool. That's my relationship to it. A tool to reach more people that are in search for what it is I offer, or a means to stay connected with family and friends, of course. But I use it as a tool to learn, to discover new creators, new artists, new paradigms, understandings, or reinforce what I believe, maybe using different language, whatever, right? Or finding a community of people that are on the same journey that I am. So it's a tool. That's it. I don't use it as a means to numb out and forget my life and my day, and or commiserate and reinforce negative thought loops. So anyways, thank you. I wanted to spend about an hour. Like I said, it was really heavy on my heart to speak to you guys today. And I wanted to share with you the first book of a series on Amazon. So I have a series of books that are currently being published one by one, different ways of accessing it. So paperback, hardback, Audible, and Kindle versions for all of them. Each is rolling out slowly. It takes time. But anyways, this is the first of many, and I'm not sure if this is, I gotta see my screen. Nope, it is backwards. Oh man, it's backwards. You're not even gonna be able to read it. But this, and of course, it's blurring it out. Can you see it? Probably can't. Anyways, it's backwards. So anyways, it's a series. It's called The Hidden Patterns of the Mind. I'll do other YouTubes to kind of go along with the series, but this today was the first of the series. So it's called You're Not Stuck, You're Thinking. Okay, it's the first of many of the series, The Hidden Patterns of the Mind. I'd much appreciate it if you would check it out. It's on Amazon. Again, many different variations. Kindle is probably the cheapest. I think it's $3 or less than $3. I guess it depends on what kind of membership you have. In the Audible version as well. Would love and appreciate any kind of positive reviews that are 2 to 3 sentences long at minimum. That helps get this in the hands of more people and shared and more visibility. So I appreciate your support. And with any thoughts, questions, if you want to jump on a call with me and just run something by me, like a situation or a scenario or an obstacle or a challenge that you're struggling with, or maybe there's something I said today that was profound or leaves you with a big question mark, or you want to understand, like, let's spend 20 minutes and have a conversation. Reach out to me. And but for now, I'll sign off, and I'll do another one of these fairly soon. So thank you guys for watching this whole thing, if you're still here. Anyways, talk soon. Bye.